Blog Talk Radio.
What's going on, folks? It's your boy Long Beach Joe, and I am back at it again. Woo, I'm back at it again, man. Listen, boy, oh boy, do we have quite a bit to discuss and talk about here. As we know, Jets training camp, is moving and shaking. Rookies reported on the 18th. Veterans, right, supposed to report on the 23rd. Guess who didn't report? You guessed it, Hasson Reddick. We're going to be discussing that, We're also going to be talking about training camp battles that everybody's excited about, things moving and shaking surrounding that as well. So many things to discuss. Again, 515-602-9639, 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in, But before I keep going, let me get into the show. Listen, I'm the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Joe Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. I love going back and forth with you folks about this football team. Also, leave me some. I love hearing about what you folks think I do here on The Long Beach Joe Show. I really do. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate everybody's feedback, Salute to everybody. Again, all the overseas people that listen, all right? I'm also on iTunes as well. Going over to iTunes, type in Long Beach Joe Show, The Long Beach Joe Show, all right? Subscribe to the podcast on there. Give me a 5-star rating and give me some feedback on there as well. And again, I want to thank everybody that listens to me from overseas. Everybody that listens to me, period, I appreciate every last one of you. But especially the people, overseas. It's crazy to hear people so far away from me, that listen to me and give me feedback, not just feedback, but, go back and forth with me and argue with me as well. So I want to thank y'all for that, and I truly appreciate everyone. But, again, those folks overseas are very passionate, all right? I'm also on Twitter as well. Come on over to Twitter, Type in The Long Beach Joe, The Long Beach Joe on Twitter. All right, follow your boy. I'll follow you right back. And let's go back and forth. That's where I get into most of my arguments, to be completely honest with you. I try to have, constructive conversations. I try to have, conversations that are just very, back and forth and great-spirited. But, there's some Jets fans that don't want to do that. And, I guess I got to address that as well when that comes my way. So, yeah, I definitely get into a lot of arguments and go back and forth with people about this football team. So, please, on Twitter, The Long Beach Joe, come on over, follow your boy, I'll follow you back, and let's go back and forth about this team. And as always, some people may not know, Some people may not know this, all right? But your boy streams live on YouTube, We're live on YouTube when the show's moving and shaking, all right? Some people hit me up and they go, Joe, whoa, we didn't know, we've heard the show, of course. We had a great time listening, and we love the takes, and we love the interaction, going back and forth, and we hear you with the callers. But we didn't know that you were live, man. We didn't know that you were so handsome, Listen, ladies, I appreciate you, I appreciate you. I appreciate you saying I'm handsome. I'm not an arrogant guy. I'm just working with what I got. For those of you that want to check out the show, come on over to YouTube, type in Long Beach Joe Jets, Long Beach Joe Jets on YouTube. All right, subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you will be in the know. But keep in mind, when you come over here, you're going to have to deal with some people, all right? You're going to have to deal with my chat, all right? Now, I call my chat the Savages. You want to know why? They're savage. Listen, it could get wild. They're respectful, but they definitely let people know what time it is. If they don't like your take, they're gonna let you know. And nobody's safe, not even me. Not even me. Salute to all the Savages. I see y'all in the building. Dakota, I see you. Salutes. Jets Motivator, I see you in the building. All right. Michael, I see you. Salutes. Christopher Phillips. He says more reps for McDonald, more reps for Will McDonald. We're going to talk about that in a second. Alex Patterson says, Joe, I think Reddick plays week 1. We'll see. We'll see, but we're going to have that discussion. Again, the lines are open. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I'm taking on callers. Let's get into it, man, because I want to have this discussion. I want to talk about this Hasson Reddick situation, okay? Now, as I was speaking about, I've been talking about this situation all the way up to this point. I actually put out some content yesterday about this. Questions and thoughts on training camp that was coming out. And let me tell you, one of my first thoughts was, hey, is Hasson Reddick going to show up to camp? And I said then, I just had a feeling that he wasn't going to show up to camp, that he wasn't going to be, reporting like everyone, like the other veterans would on the 23rd of July, 2024, that he would not do that. And I also had discussions with other Jets fans as well about this situation. And they were like, no, Joe, you're tripping. No, Joe, he's going to report. Don't worry. Everything's going to be fine. And I said, hey, listen, he didn't show up to any of the voluntary stuff. None of it. None of it. Since we traded for him, since the Jets have acquired him, none of the voluntary stuff. Okay, cool, right? People were telling me, all right, cool, he's not the voluntary stuff, even though everybody, other people were out there as well. Mandatory mini camps. He passed on that as well. Was fine for that too, right? Didn't show up. And all along the way, what do we keep hearing? Contract. He wants a contract. The whole way, right? We heard this. Well, when training camp was coming, like I said, I felt like he would miss out on this as well because I believe he, again, was looking for a new contract. And here we are. He didn't show up. All right? Now, keep in mind, Hasson Reddick will be fined $50,000 a day, okay, $50K a day, and it is non-negotiable. It's non-refundable. They can't give him that money back if he just shows up. So $50K a day he is being fined. But you can clearly tell that this man wants a new contract, all right? We know, the Jets traded a conditional third-round pick that could become a second depending on his playing time. This might leak into the season. We'll see how much time he actually ends up playing here. But, again, he skipped everything so far, voluntary stuff, everything, okay? And what's crazy about this situation is it continues to unfold because Connor Hughes came out today with a report as well. And he said some things, okay? Now, this is according to him. This is Connor Hughes, all right, a guy that's very close with the Jets organization. He said that the Jets offered Hasson Reddick a contract that would have given him more than the $14.5 million that he's currently making this upcoming year. And when they did that, now mind you, this is before the trade was done with Philadelphia, okay? They offered him this contract trying to work out a deal, but he declined that offer. And the Jets still made the trade. That's where I start to have some questions, okay? Because listen here, if this man clearly told you off the bat, hey, no, the offer, whatever the Jets offered him, that's not enough. Keep in mind, Connor Hughes went on to say that it was known that Hasson Reddick was looking to get paid anywhere between $25 million to $28 million per season, per season. That is crazy. That's crazy. 25 to 28 million per season. This is wild. So you offer the guy, right? You offer him a deal. He tells you no, and you still complete the deal. That's where I question Joe Douglas, okay? Because, again, we all know, salutes to all the savages in the chat. Baked, I see you in the building. He says, favorite show. Thank you, okay? Y'all put y'all thoughts and comments in the chat. I want to hear from y'all as well, savages. I'm thinking to myself, and I'm saying, if I'm Joe Douglas, and I know that the only reason why this guy, Hasson Reddick, is even available in the first place in this market is because he has contract issues with the Eagles, okay? They already saw what could come about in the situation, and they said to themselves, listen, we're not going to deal with this. Bryce Huff becomes a free agent. They looked at that situation and said, we're going to grab this young ascending guy and bring him into this organization immediately. We're going to make Bryce Huff an Eagle. We're going to give him an offer he cannot refuse. We're going to make him an Eagle, lickety-split, said and done. And they did just that. They foresaw issues and said, we're not going to deal with Hasson and this stuff. We're going to move on from him. We're going to shop him. And they ended up trading him to the New York Jets. If you are Joe Douglas, how do you not look at the situation that he is dealing with before they made the trade? How do you not look at the situation that he's currently in and go, man, we're not going to make this trade unless there's something in place so that we do not end up with what we're ending up with now? A guy that realizes that he has a lot of leverage in this situation, and a guy that's holding out going into a season that has major expectations on it. Major expectations. And major consequences if we don't reach those expectations. Because if the Jets aren't significantly better than they were last season, I'm going to say this again. If the Jets aren't better, significantly better than they were last season, everybody's getting fired. Everybody. And this is not me playing it up and, people, oh, Joe, you're just you're overdoing it. No, this is known. Woody Johnson himself came out and talked about how, hey, you got to be better. Or, now he didn't put a playoff mandate in it, but we all know that meant, hey, we got to make the playoffs. We got to do something big. You got Jets fans out here screaming. It's Super Bowl or bust because the window with Aaron Rodgers is so short. We know that. So I do not understand how in this situation you could look at what's going on and still make the trade for him. I don't get it. I don't understand that. Then you look at the Haason Reddick side. I mean, if you listen to Connor Hughes as well, Connor Hughes went on, too, to talk about how allegedly, and again, we've heard different aspects from this situation. Supposedly the Jets, even though they couldn't work out a contract with him at the time before the trade was made, they still made the trade because they had spoken with him and said, hey, look, we'll keep working with you, but we're not going to give you that big money, especially if you're not here. We haven't seen you, under the big lights here. And supposedly he agreed to that deal. But here we are, right? Skipped everything voluntary, skipped the mandatory mini camps. Now he's not at training camp, and he's holding out. You look at it from Hasson's side, and it's crazy. He has a lot of leverage, and a lot of Jets fans don't want to admit that. I'm here to tell you he does have a lot of leverage, and here's why. If Hasson Reddick sits out this upcoming season, the only proven pass rusher on this football team is Jermaine Johnson. That is it. I like Will McDonald a lot. I liked the pick. I remember Jets fans crushing. I remember Jets fans crushing Joe Douglas, crushing him and the Jets for drafting Will McDonald in the first round over various players that they felt like the Jets should have taken at that time. But let me tell you something. Will McDonald is a guy that's very unproven here so far. He was deactivated in games last year, right? Then when he was activated, he played very little, not as much as we expected him to play coming into the season, right? So now, year two, he's got to come in and give you double-digit sacks. He has to. He has to come in and give you immediate production under the brightest of lights with the expectations out the wazoo in a Super Bowl or bust year, he's got to go out there and just go crazy year 2, into the playoffs, do everything. Is that realistic? I don't think so. I don't think it is. This was supposed to be a year of growth for him. And honestly, Hasson Reddick, and we talked about this as well, the second that the Jets traded for him, Hasson Reddick was going to be the guy to come in and help him. That was going to be the guy that was really going to get things rolling with Will McDonald as well. It was going to be Haason Reddick. Now he's holding out. And I love Jermaine Johnson. Jermaine Johnson's phenomenal. But 7.5 sacks is not enough. He's going to have to get double-digit sacks this upcoming season as well. No Huff to call upon. He's in Philadelphia. That man's an Eagle. Even if you wanted to look around and say, okay, well, John Franklin Myers is a Bronco. The Jets sent him there. Not much answers if Hasson Reddick is not on the field, or if Hasson Reddick continues to hold out. Like this situation is it's tough. And the Jets have a good defense. They absolutely have a great defense. But we've seen when the Jets cannot manufacture pass rush, oh, baby, we've seen what happens to the Jets defense. When they can't get to the quarterback, we've seen what happens. Go back and watch that Dallas Cowboy game when we could not get to Dak Prescott. I think the Jets only had 1 sack in that game. We could not get to Dak Prescott consistently, and he carved us up like a turkey on Thanksgiving. He carved us up in that game. It was crazy. I believe we also played the Patriots after that. We played the Patriots. We couldn't get to Mac Jones. Couldn't get to him. And we ended up losing that game as well. It's tough. It's really tough. And I'm looking at Joe Douglas, and I'm saying, listen, man, and everyone knows I've been called a Joe Douglas apologist. I've been called a lot of different things. My support of Joe Douglas because I love what he's done here as a general manager. He's had some missteps. He's made some mistakes. But this could turn out to be a very big mistake because Hasson Reddick was one of the key pieces of this Jets defense, especially when we let go of Bryce Huff, especially when we let him go. So I'm hoping that Joe Douglas can get something done here. Maybe give him more guaranteed money, maybe work out something else, maybe short term. But Hasson clearly is looking for pass rusher money because if you look at it, that's what he is in this league. 4 years, I think he's had double-digit sacks. He's done it under the brightest of lights, right, in Philadelphia. He's put it together. His accolades go on. I don't have to, go on and on and on about Hasson Reddick and what he's done in this league. But there was a reason why we were all overjoyed to get him into the building, especially, again, with Huff walking away and going to another football team. Now, Connor Hughes also spoke on the situation between or the Jets' stance, on Hasson Reddick as far as, possibly moving on from him if things don't work out. Now, currently, this is what Connor Hughes said, a trade or release is not on the table when it comes to Hasson Reddick as it stands. Oh, baby. The waters could get rough. The waters could get rough. I'm looking at it like this. I don't think as of now a trade or release is on the table as of now. But if this continues to play out and this man is not willing to agree on a deal that Joe Douglas feels is fair, right? Or he just doesn't report and decides he's going to continue to sit out. And we've seen players do this. Let's not act like there's a defensive lineman, Chris Jones, in KC that did it. He sat out all the way into week 1, and then the Kansas City Chiefs realized, we got to get him back into this building immediately and get him. He was sitting in games. And they said, yeah, we got to get him signed and get him on the field immediately. And they made it happen. And he sat all the way out until after week 1. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens going forward. I'm hoping that this gets figured out, gets panned out. But man, oh man, this is not a good look. Not a good look, especially with so many expectations and so many things moving and shaking around here, right? This is a big year for the New York Jets. Big year for the Jets. We're all looking at it and we're all hoping that they can push and finally really get it done. Get to the Super Bowl. And the last thing you want is distraction. That's the last thing you want. In this situation, oh, baby, it's a big distraction. But we'll see what happens because the Jets are going to keep negotiating. Hopefully, maybe he gets in camp. Again, the Jets have already said they're not going to negotiate with players that are not in camp. So hopefully to camp at some point, and we'll see what happens, if he does that. So we're going to continue to talk about camp as well. Listen, there's been some moves along this roster. Leonard Taylor, Tyler Harrell, both young players, young rookies. Guess what? They passed their physicals, and they are being taken off of the PUP list. They're being activated. This is exciting because especially Taylor is a guy that people talk about really making some moves and possibly having some impact within this Jets defensive line rotation. All right? Speaking of some of the battles that we have coming up, man, I'm looking at camp, man. And, again, I'm excited because this is where we build our momentum. This is where we start taking our steps to get that momentum to get into the season and really handle business. And I'm starting to look around and I say to myself, man, what are some of the stories in training camp? What are some of the players that I'm really going to be keeping my eyes on? Some of the things that's going to happen. Salutes to all the Savages in the chat. I'll come to y'all thoughts in just a second. And outside of the Hasson Reddick situation, and Edward Stewart salutes and respect to you. He says we don't need any more locker room cancers. Yeah. I'm not saying Hasson Reddick is a cancer. That's not. I know that there's a lot of Jets fans that are thoroughly upset with the situation. We'll see what happens. I know that he's a man that's about his money. And I get it. Because, again, Hasson Reddick, you look at his situation, he's trying to get his last payday. This could be his last payday. He's a 30-year-old guy. I'm going to keep it all the way real with you. And he's looking at the situation like, hey, I'm going to cash out right now. I've got leverage, and guess what? If I can't play this hand, then they can deal me somewhere else, and I'll make sure that I get paid. It's about the moolah for him, and I get it. We'll continue to talk about that. Again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. But as I continue to look at camp, my first thought, man, is Aaron Rodgers. We know that he's reported he's looking good. I want to see what he looks like, in camp with everybody. Coming back off that Achilles injury, I know that there's a lot of concern. There's a lot of people saying to themselves, hey, he's an older guy. He's 40. Can he continue to get it rolling? How is he going to look? Is that Achilles going to hold up? That's a big question for a lot of people, too. Is that Achilles going to hold up? We know that he worked his keister off to get back up on the field. We all know that, right? They had to shut down the fact that he was trying to get back on the field last season, during the season. He wasn't 100%, but he was ready to try to give it a go. And the Jets had to put the stops to that, right? So I want to see what he looks like, in camp with the guys. I know that he's going to be working heavy with a lot of the guys, especially new guys. Malachi Corley, for sure. Callers, just give me 1 second. Val, new callers as well. Hold on. I'll come right to you in a second. Don't trip. So I'm looking at this situation and I'm saying to myself, how will Aaron Rodgers look in camp? Is there going to be, any regression? Because we know sometimes, especially Achilles injuries, they'll flare up a little bit. Is he going to be good to go? Is everything going to be great? How's his walk going to be? I remember last time we saw there was a little bit of a limp, then there wasn't a limp. How are they going to handle that situation with him and how he's going to look? And we know he's going to be working to get everybody up to speed as well, touching, getting out there and touching the guys and making sure that they know where they're supposed to be at within the offense and how they're supposed to handle their business. All right. So also looking at how quickly can this offensive line gel? That's a big question for me. A lot of people talking about the improvements that we made. We made great improvements, okay? You got Tyron Smith in the building, Morgan Moses, right? We've got guys in here. Simpson, we get an ATV. He's going to be back. How quickly can this line gel? And that's a big question, right? That's something I'm absolutely going to be keeping my eyes on Because if they fall, the entire Jets offense is false. And we've seen this, okay? If Aaron Rodgers is not here, that road to the playoffs and road to the Super Bowl or bust, boy, that road gets real murky. We've seen that, okay? So I want to see how quickly this offensive line is going to gel. Can they get things together? I also want to see how Olufasanu is going to be, what kind of reps are they going to give him? I want to see that as well. I'm also looking at the Jets running back situation. Braylon Allen, a lot of people penciling him in as the number 2 running back. I think Izzy Anabatakanda is going to have something to say about that, y'all. All right? Listen, Braylon's a good back. He's a young back. This guy's explosive. We know that he has a lot of power, runs with a lot of power. But don't put old Izzy. Don't put Izzy, okay? Don't put Izzy in the trash just yet, all right? He's a guy that can play. And I'm excited to see that battle play out. The wide receiver battle as well, I think is going to be interesting. If the Jets do keep 6 wide receivers, I'm looking at it, I'm saying to myself, that last spot, right? You got Wilson, you got Mike Williams, Xavier Gibson, Malachi Corley, Poopy Allen Lazard. Oh, boy, he sucks, man. That guy stinks. And I know Jets fans want him cut, but guess what? We can't cut him. Unless they just want to make a statement, right? Which would be cool, right? If he keeps being trash like we've all seen. So we can't cut him realistically, right? He's still here. But that 6 wide receiver spot, that last spot is going to be a dogfight. Jason Brownlee, Malik Taylor, Charles, those are just the top 3 names that I'm looking at right now, guys on the roster that have been fighting. Jason Brownlee has been very impressive, right, in the past. Malik Taylor has also definitely opened some eyes. That man has made some plays. Irvin Charles has also been a guy I talked about too, especially contributions, special teams. Like we've seen and we've heard, that these guys putting things together. We've also seen it as well. So that battle is going to be really, really heated, and I cannot wait to see it, okay? Also, the defensive line rotation. Salute to all the savages in the chat. Let me tell you something. This defensive line rotation is going to be a fight as well, okay? And Hawkeye Digger, salutes to you in the chat, Savage. He says, I'm thinking Michael Clemens steps up this year. That dude looks like he could rip heads off. Listen, he's going to have to step up this year because he's one of the guys that I've highlighted. Val, we'll come to you in a second, 848. Hold on. Sit tight. We're coming to you next. This defensive line rotation has some guys in it, okay? From Holmes, to Kataris McKinley, guy we just brought into the building, Braden McGregor, Bruce Hector, who's a guy that was very impressive, throughout camp, preseason. People were talking about him constantly, okay? There were so many guys last offseason, that people were like, man, the Jets defensive line is so strong, they're going to be getting rid of guys that could absolutely be guys that could push to possibly be starters or really make big impacts in other defensive line rotations. This Jets defensive line is crazy. It was that wild. And he was one of those guys that were constantly brought up, man, this dude, Bruce Hector, is crazy. He back at it again. All right? And if Michael Clemens don't wake up, because he made a lot of stupid mistakes last season that cost the Jets, stupid penalties, fights, all kinds of idiotic stuff. Offsides penalties that he got, help extend other teams' drives. If he don't pick it up in camp, oh, baby, let me tell you something. Things going to keep moving around you, and then they'll move away from you. And you'll be looking around wondering where everybody else is at, and they're going to be far ahead of you. You also got Taylor as well. I talked about him earlier. That young kid, man, there's a lot of people talking about him making a big-time impact in the Jets' defensive line rotation. At one point, okay, he was highly touted. Leonard Taylor was highly touted in his collegiate career. There were people saying that he had a first-round grade on him. Before some things happened and he fell. So he has the talent, and a lot of people are saying that he was a steal as an undrafted guy, and that he can come in and really handle some business because he has elite traits of guys that can rush the passer. So it's going to be very interesting. Listen, let me get to the line because I don't want to have y'all holding any longer. I can go on forever talking about this. 515-602-9639. 515-029-639 is the number. Call in. We are taking all callers. Please give the stream a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so when I post content, you folks will be in the know. Also, if you want to give to the stream, Super Chat is at the top. Cash App is at the bottom of the screen as well. Some people want to use that. They say, Joe, we don't like the Super Chat. We want to go directly to Cash App. There it goes, all right? Anything you give to the platform is greatly appreciated, all right? When you call in, please make sure you have a good phone line so I can hear you. And there's only one rule on my show, really. There's no cursing, all right? Because we'll get you out of here fast. I'm talking fast. Faster than Hasson Reddick can hold out. Oh, that was fast. What, savages? What did I do now? Okay. What, too soon? Too soon? Okay. All right. Well, okay. That was fast. All right. Faster than Hasson Reddick cannot show up to camp. Oh, that was fast. It was fast. Faster than Hasson Reddick can decline a contract before you trade for him. What do you think? What? Too soon? Too soon for these jokes. Okay. All right. Everybody's all butthurt. Okay. All right. Listen. All right. Salute to the savages. I'll come to you in a second. Put your thoughts in the chat. You're already upset at me because I'm making Hasson Reddick jokes. I'm not the one that didn't show up to camp, okay? It's not me, you know? He won a lot of money. I get it. All right. We're going to get to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515, 602-9639 is the number. Call in first. Caller, we're going to Val. Val, we're coming directly to you, 848. Hold on. Other callers, hold on. Sit tight. We're getting to everybody. All right. For those of you that do not know, the circus has officially started, okay? When this man calls in, all you hear is dun, 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 because let me tell you something. The takes are going to get flying, and again, the circus has begun. For those of you that do not know Val, he's a savage. Dun, 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 dun. Val salutes. How are you feeling, my friend? Hasson Reddick is not at camp, okay? He's holding out. What are your thoughts on this situation, man?
Oh, man. Listen, salute to all the savages. Salute to Joe, man. Salute to everybody, man. And listen, you see Joe painting narratives from the beginning, man. Don't listen to him. Listen, it's all a facade. But, all right, to get to this Hasson Reddick situation. All right, man, listen, Hasson Reddick, I understand he's going to this year with a no guaranteed contract. And hopefully, like, I was just hoping that the Jets had a plan of getting this guy. He's been saying since the Eagles that he wants a new contract. He's fishing for that new contract and everything. Yes, it does suck that he has not shown up to training camp. Hopefully this doesn't linger on too long and stuff like that. But other than that, man, like I feel like he's going to be a force to be reckoned with this team, because this defensive line is like, who are you going to guard? But at the same time, Joe Douglas is looking at it as, listen, 2021, that draft class, they're going to be up for contracts real soon. And they're not, and everybody's surpassing expectations. So that's in the back of, the mind. You got to pay Garrett Wilson. You got to pay Sauce Gardner. You got to pay Breece Hall. You got to pay Jermaine Johnson that just came into his he was playing outstanding this past year. So it's just like they don't know what to, they should have signed Bryce Huff. That was a huge mistake on Joe Douglas' situation. His side. But I do love this Hasson Reddick trade that we did have. but you had to have a place, you had to have a plan in place to get him, involved. Go ahead, Joe.
Here's the thing, and you're making a good point, right? I remember when I was talking about Bryce Huff and getting him re-signed. Y'all know we had shows, okay, and it's recorded. Oh, yeah. This is not. It's not
coming at you, Joe.
Okay, it's all recorded. And I remember I was saying that I thought that Bryce Huff was the most important piece that the New York Jets needed to bring back in the offseason. Get him re-signed.
Absolutely.
He's the engine that makes this defense go. The pass rush and all that stuff. And I remember I was shouted down by a lot of people. I was told that, he's a little spotty against the run and all these things. And I said, listen, you need to bring him back. Oh, you remember, that's why you laughing. Listen, you need to bring him back because you don't want to be in a tough situation. And here we are with Hasson Reddick, right? We made the move for him. We were all excited about that too. I was excited about bringing Hasson in. But that contract and looking at that situation of what he was dealing with the Eagles as well, always worried me a bit, and here are all my worst fears playing out in front of us. And that leads me to my next question for you. You were saying that the Jets should have a plan. Hopefully they have a plan to figure this situation out. My question, though, is, and this is according to a report in Connor Hughes said the Jets Hasson Reddick a contract before the trade was done, and he declined it. And the Jets still went ahead and made the trade, okay? Now, I want to get your thoughts on that. Do you think it's a misstep, or do you think it was a misstep for Joe Douglas to have his contract, to offer, see that the contract was declined, and still make the trade for a guy who's already steeped in contract, in contract issues with the Eagles at the time?
Absolutely, Joe. Because listen, man, if you're going to trade for somebody and you said that you already had a contract ready for him and everything, and they didn't contractually agree to it, I don't know what the conversation was between them two, but it just seems very hazy of everything that had happened. But it's just like we didn't even try to resign this man, Bryce Huff, and I'm sorry to go back to it, but we didn't even try to attempt or even have a conversation with him. Like, it was just like, all right, bye, we don't need you no more. Like, that's kind of how it was, and this is our homegrown talent, and he only got like $17 million per year. So that was actually something that we could have actually used, and he played outstanding this past season. So I don't understand why going out and get a even more expensive pass rusher that is very, very good. He gets double digits. He doesn't need to prove himself because, listen, he's going to go out there and do his thing. He's definitely showed you time and time again. I mean, he made it to the Super Bowl. He did his thing. But it's just like, man, they had to have a plan in place. And it just seems like this is another situation that we have with Joe Douglas. He has to get into he has to know exactly what he's getting into before he jumps into that. And take care of your talent that shows out in front of you, especially if he's an undrafted free agent. Undrafted draft pick, and he showed you that he could actually play. Take accountability. Definitely do your research. Don't just jump out there and get rid of people and don't re-sign people, because this has always been the case with Joe Douglas, not re-signing his talent and letting people just go and go out the door. Just like JFM, he just went out the door as well too. They didn't really have a conversation with him, and now we're stuck in this situation. It sucks, man. It's the only problem I have with Joe Douglas, and of course other situations. But this year he showed out, but still, like I said, he's still at that line, Joe. He's still at that line.
No, listen, and I hear you. I hear you. I'm looking at the situation, and I'm stunned. And again, this is according to Connor Hughes. This is a report he put out. They offered Hasson Reddick a contract, and he declined it. They offered him a contract that was going to pay him more than what he's currently getting paid in this current contract, and he said no and declined it. And according to Connor Hughes...
And this is before the trade, Joe?
Yes, so this is before the trade. According to Connor Hughes, they offered him a contract before the trade was completed so that, they would have a trade and a sign in place. He declined that. And they still made the trade, knowing that at the time Hasson Reddick was looking to be paid $25 to $28 million per season, and they knew that. And so I'm looking at the situation. I'm going again. Why would you trade for him then? If I'm Joe Douglas, I'm not making that move. I'm not doing it. Especially if I know that you're asking for 24 to 28 or 25, to 28 million. No,
25 to 28.
I'm not going to do it.
Well, you could have just
I'll go trade for somebody else.
You could have just paid Bryce Huff. You could have just paid Bryce Huff 17 per meal. Yeah, and then on top of that, you had Clowney in it. You could have got Clowney. He was only $20 million for 2 years. Yeah. But they went for somebody super expensive, knowing that you have the 2021 draft class coming up. So you know you can't pay for him. So that's the problem. That's the logic I have with Joe Douglas. It's just like, come on, Joe. You got to really think about it. It doesn't make no sense of why he declined it, and saying that you have like a deal, that as you're reporting that he had a deal in place and he basically declined it, but you still trade for that player, and now you're in this situation right now. So you put yourself in this situation,
And
what's even
crazier? You know what's even crazier, Val? Is that he did this. They did this in a Super Bowl or bust year. He did this with all. I'm talking. If this fails, and I keep listen. There's a lot of Jets fans that are like, oh, well, I'm not really worried about. I'm worried about it because this guy is a huge piece of our defense. Because Val, we watch games together. For those of y'all that don't know, I do live watch-alongs with all the Savages when I can. Guess what? We watched that Cowboys game together. I remember Dak Prescott dicing up the Jets defense, and we could not get to him. Oh my God! I remember the Patriots game where we couldn't get to Mac Jones, and there were so many question marks when it came to pass rush, and everybody was looking around like, what the heck is going on around here?
What the heck is going on?
Yeah. I mean, it was crazy, and we know that when the Jets defense can't manufacture pass rush, when we can't get to the quarterback, they struggle. We've seen it. Any defense, especially in this league, when you can't get to the passer, that's why these top defenses around the league be having 2, 3, sometimes 4 different guys that can get after you, because it's that type of league. So I'm worried about it. I know some people are just like blowing it off and not caring. I care a lot. And that leads me to my next question for you, Val. Listen, if Hasson Reddick sits out all the way into the season, let's say, how much pressure does that put on Will McDonald? Give me your thoughts, man.
Woo! Listen, he's going to have to grow up real fast if that ever happens and stuff like that. He's a first-round pick, and, he has to grow up anyway because, he's the first-round pick, and we picked him up. He's going to have to take that huge leap, But I see it. I do see it getting done. I'm just not too sure how it's going to get done. Pretty sure it's going to probably be like probably a tweet. I don't know. The people are saying like either a couple of weeks from now, or a couple of days. I'm not too sure. But if there's not a plan in place, this is going to be really bad, Joe.
Val, if this continues to play out, if from everything, look, I've been talking about this. From everything that we're looking at, if you think that Hasson Reddick don't know that he has a ton of leverage, he does. One, after him, Jermaine Johnson is the only guy that we know is a proven guy that can get after the quarterback. Will McDonald, you know I love him. I do. But he's not proven.
I love him too.
He activated last season, sat on the bench a lot, didn't play a lot, nothing, right? Then you look at, hey, if you're not getting to the edge, if you're not getting after quarterback, there's going to be some issues. He also knows that going into the season, this is a Super Bowl or bust year. If you don't play up to the level, y'all all getting fired, all of y'all. These is facts. There's pressure in that. Do you want to keep your job, dog? You ain't going to have to worry about signing me. Because if y'all don't do something without me, player, you ain't going to be here. You ain't going to have to worry about me. You're going to have to worry about finding some other job. Okay? I'm going to be talking to a new general manager, so I'm not tripping. So all of that is playing into place. And you're looking around, and I'm telling you, I'm just wondering, everybody's saying it's going to get done. I'm wondering when. because according to the to the Jets, they're not going to negotiate with a guy that's not in camp, and he's not in camp. And Hasson Reddick is looking around like, and again, Hasson Reddick's 30. He knows that that window's starting to close. Yeah, that window's starting to close.
And no guaranteed money this year. So that's why he's really like, listen, I need to get my money because anything can happen. Practice,
anything can happen.
He could get a torn Achilles, then boom, he's out. Then he has no guaranteed money. So I understand his standpoint of things as well too, but it's just like, come on, man, Joe, you had to know this situation was going to be a headache. You basically, you're taking on the Eagles' headache, and the Eagles are like, fine, take him. You know, like, we don't want to deal with this. And matter of fact, you take your guy that you didn't want to pay and give him $17 per year. You know, that's easy. 25, 28, and we going to get him for 17, and he showed out this past season too. It's just crazy, man. It's really crazy.
And the only reason why he was even available is because they did not want to deal with this contract situation. That's the only reason he was even available. Man, oh man.
Yeah. Other than that, the production was there, man.
Yeah. Now as we continue to talk about this team and camp and things we got coming up, we talked about, everything that's going on with Hasson Reddick. I want to talk to you about this offense, man. When you look at this situation, what are you looking to see out of Aaron Rodgers in this upcoming camp as they, get on the field and really get to handling things? What are you looking to see out of him, man?
Oh, man, listen, I'm looking forward to him to get the rookies involved. I'm looking forward to him to, get the plays and everybody getting, on top of the game. I want everybody to be, on point. And I understand a lot of people don't want him to play preseason games. I don't. I just want him to play probably like 2 series in the last game or something like that, just to get the timing down with Garrett Wilson. I understand that's going to be a factor, and that's going to be controversial. I already know that's going to be a whole video on itself. Like, do you want to see Aaron Rodgers in the preseason, the last preseason game or the third or something like that for only 2 series? That's going to be a whole controversy right there. But it's just that, Aaron Rodgers hasn't played in like 2 or 3 years. So I really want to see him, get used to it before he gets out there to play the San Francisco 49ers, because that's going to be a game. Oh, man, that's going to be a crazy game with that defense. That's arguably top. Okay,
go ahead. Yeah, how concerned are you about that Achilles? Yeah, how concerned are you about that Achilles? There's a lot of Jets fans that are saying, listen, let's just baby him and get into the season. Let's not do too much. Like you said, there's some people that don't want him to play at all in the preseason. And they're just like, listen, let's just baby him. Let's get into the season, because they're concerned about that Achilles. Is the Achilles still a concern to you?
It's still a concern. It's definitely still a concern because, again, he hasn't got hit. He hasn't went down yet, so it's just like, we definitely got to be cautious with that as well, too. He's walking fine. He's, he's in a practice facility, but it doesn't matter until you get into that, to that actual game, so we don't know until it actually happens. But I just feel like, he's gonna definitely play out really good. I'm just hoping that, like I said, the team progresses. And I'm hearing a lot of bad stuff about Allen Lazard too. Like I'm hearing that he's not really doing too well, and that's a whole different headache right there in itself. I'm like, man, you only this is your chance to actually show out. I'm thinking he was gonna be coming out, dogging this year. But it's sounded real bad in the training camp so far.
He's a dog, all right. Good. That man stinks, man. He's a dog, all right. That man stinks. As a matter of fact, Alan, you're flushed. He's flushed.
Oh man,
Alan,
that's my concern, man.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, man.
Right there is
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Joe.
No, yeah. Listen, Allen Lazard is awful. He was awful. He's been dropping stuff all throughout. It's the same thing. He just seems like a guy that I don't know what happened, because I was so excited to get him into the building, so excited to see him become a Jet. But ever since he's gotten here, it's just been drops, lazy routes, and a whole lot of nonsense. It's just insane to me And that's also I wanted to ask you about as well. This wide receiver competition. We know that Allen Lazard's going to be here, right, because of his contract, and he sucks. But you look at if the Jets keep 6 wide receivers, of course we know you got Mike Williams, Garrett Wilson, Xavier Gibson, Corley, Lazard. That 6th spot, that last spot, is going to be a dogfight. Yeah, when you look at this situation, who do you think ends up taking that spot at this point? If you would have to, put a prediction out there, Brownlee, Taylor, Charles, those are some of the guys leading for that last spot. Who do you think would be able to take it?
Sheesh, man. And I heard we definitely got a lot of people for special teams as well, too, with the new field goal. I mean, the new kickoff rules and everything. So I can't wait to see that. And I just feel like it's going to be Garrett Wilson, number 1, Mike Williams, number 2, Xavier Gibson might be number 3, and then Allen Lazard number 4, because it's just man, you want to get that speed. Yeah, you want to get that speed. Well, I don't know about Xavier Gibson because he.
Wait, hold on a second.
It's hard to. Okay.
Yeah, let me. You're getting great thoughts, but let me put this out here too. Everybody's counting Mike Williams. Yeah, everybody's counting Mike Williams as the number 2. There's talks that he may not be ready for the start of the season. We're still looking to see if he's going to be fully healed and back and ready to go. So if he's not ready, you might have to lean on Allen Lazard as your number 2. You might have to.
Oh, God.
Surprise.
Oh, my God.
What more do y'all want?
What more do you want from me?
Yeah, surprise, everybody.
Well, hopefully.
You forgot about
Joe,
him?
Hopefully.
You forgot that he could be a number 2? He sucks. Surprise. $40 million. Surprise.
So you don't think he's going to be ready by the season start?
I hope that Mike Williams is going to be ready, but there was talks that he may not be ready until literally the start of the season. Wow. And then again, you got to think. You got to think too. You got to think. Everybody's not. Listen, I get it. We're all excited. I'm fired up too. But if he's been sitting out that long with an Achilles injury, when he gets into the season, it's not going to be like he was the Mike Williams from 3 years ago.
Right.
He's going to still be
working on the field again. Right. It's not like he's going to have no training camp or anything.
Bro.
He has to get back in physical shape and everything.
Yes. Nobody's talking about
game
that.
shape.
I feel like I'm the only guy. I'm like, hey, look, he's a great wide receiver. But coming off of Achilles injury, and some guys, and we know this because we've seen it here before, sometimes coming off that Achilles injury, it takes them like a year or 2 years to get back to themselves. We've seen it in the league. So if he's not fully ready and healthy, surprise, guys, Allen Lazard, he's going to be your number 2.
Oh, man.
Everybody ready for that?
Oh,
no?
Man.
What?
No.
You mad? Y'all mad? Like, come on.
Do you think
might have to depend on him
he's going to be playing? Do you think him playing with Aaron Rodgers would make him tap back into that old Allen Lazard from Green Bay, even though it wasn't as much? But do you think he will actually focus up more, as Aaron Rodgers will start getting, he's more vocal on the sideline and everything. And, I feel like he's going to be a little bit more focused. He's going to get back to his own self. But it's just like that I'm hearing about camp. He's not even looking that good in camp. And that's Aaron Rodgers there. So
No, he's not.
Oh, man.
That's why I'm like, look, I hope and pray that he does, right? But guess what? In camp, I forgot who it was. There was a report. Aaron Rodgers hit him with a bomb down the field, and it hit his hand, and he dropped it. And Aaron literally took his helmet off and threw it into the dirt. Like, he's been dropping stuff.
Serious?
Allen Lazard is bad. Last season, I know people dumped on everybody, and I was the first guy coming out talking about, listen, I know that there's a lot of issues elsewhere. The offensive line, the quarterback play sucks, but Allen Lazard is horrific. This was right before he got benched.
Yeah, he was terrible.
And I was the first one talking about, I said he needs to be benched. The route running.
Yeah, he needed to.
It was insane.
Hugging
His route
the
running
other
was
players.
terrible. Literally, I remember that. Dropping footballs left and right.
God.
It was wild. It was wild. It was completely wild. And it's looking like he's bringing that into this season. I don't know what's going on, but he is lacking focus. And this guy, Sulla, that's the first time I've ever heard Sulla say what he said about Alan Lazard in a public manner, literally telling the media and everybody that was there, he has a year and a half left here. And then we're going to, basically we're going to get rid of him after a year and a half. I've never heard Sulla.
Yeah.
Dude, even Mekhi Becton and all the issues that they had, he never came out and said nothing like that about Mekhi. Absolutely wild.
Exactly. Because Alan Lazard then responded back and said, I'm just saying, like, Alan Lazard also came back and said, the game plan, it just seemed like they knew all the game plan. The game plan should have been better and stuff like that. So it was a little back and forth with them, too. So, it's just like, it's not a recipe for a good situation, man. I just really feel like he needs to be gone, and I know it's not going to happen. And I keep hearing about this Devontae Adams. I know I didn't get to talk about this. That's a pipe dream. I feel like that will only happen during the season. And again, everybody, I don't know if you could get out of his contract the very next year or something like that when it comes to Devontae Adams. But it's just like, man, if we do get him, that would be beautiful. That would be, listen, we're definitely going to the Super Bowl with that team, for sure. With Garrett Wilson,
I don't know.
And Adams, I think that would, you could say, but I feel like Aaron Rodgers.
How could you afford him? I'm just wondering how you
another
afford
question.
him. Also,
can you get out of his contract? Because people was, go ahead. Can you also get out of his contract the very next year or something like that? Because that's what people were telling me when I was telling him. It doesn't make no sense.
Yeah,
contract.
You would have to look at restructuring that contract, and if he's willing to give money back, right? Because I think it's $25 million he makes this upcoming season. Then after that, it's $44 million back to back, right? $44 million. I think it's like the year after that, and then $44 million after. I don't see it happening. First off, second off, I think a lot of people are also losing sight of the draft capital we're going to have to give up. Does anybody forget that after Aaron Rodgers, there is no answer long-term here with the New York Jets at quarterback at all? There's no answer. There's no – Zach Wilson, not here, right? He sucked anyway, but he's not here. There's nobody here that we can say Aaron Rodgers is going to pass the baton to him. He's going to take this on for years. So we already know we're going to have to draft a quarterback with probably the next year or next 2 years because Aaron Rodgers is going to be here this – we're going to have to do that. If you give away capital for Devontae Adams, you're going to be giving up a first because that's what the Raiders want. They're not going to give him away for anything less than a first. So
of course not.
Where's that capital? Yeah, where's that capital coming from? Because if really Aaron Rodgers does what we think Aaron Rodgers is going to do, we're going to be in like the 20s. Well, less than the 20s, right? We're going to be low.
Right.
So we're going to have to trade a bunch of capital, move back up in these drafts. You give that away, what else is there? How are we going to do that? Never mind the fact we got other position groups as well we got to fill. Nobody's talking about C.J. Mosley walking away. Nobody's talking about all these other guys walking away. And then also, you just talked about it too, and I'll give you the final word on this. Everybody's talking about pay Devontae. I would love, him to come here if it made sense. But then how do you pay him, Haason Reddick, and Sauce Gardner, who's the best corner in the league? Garrett Wilson, who's one of the better wide receivers in the league. Breece Hall, who's literally like one of our biggest offensive weapons. Jermaine Johnson. What about AVT, who, if he's fully healthy this upcoming season, we all know he plays like an all-pro, Pro Bowl guard. Like, how are we going to pay all these guys? I'm just asking. Go ahead. I'll let you finish up.
Man, and going back on that, because I was hearing the AVT, everybody's like, well, he might take a little discount because – no, he's not. Just because he got injured and stuff like that. That's not happening. Listen, he got injured 2 times in a row, but listen, these offensive lines are getting paid. They are getting paid, and he's not taking no hometown discount because he got injured and stuff. No, he wants to get his money, man. And it's not going to grow on trees. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what was Joe Douglas thinking of the Haason Reddick situation, and I know we're going to get rid of that Alan Lazard contract the very next year and stuff, but it's just like, man, it's not looking too good right now. We got to make sure, this is the year. This is the year that we have to make a Super Bowl. We have to. Everybody has to be on their top game. They got to be on their A game because if it's not this year, it's going to look bad for that next year because, like I said, we got to pay the 2021 draft class. And that class they all past expectations. Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, and we on and on and on and on. But it's just like, man, I just really hope, like, Aaron Rodgers can get this done. I'm really hoping this situation comes together because, listen, this is the Jets' last chance. We haven't been to a playoffs in about 13, 14 years. So it's really looking bad, man. And I really hope this team can really get it together and really make a run because this is probably our last chance. Aaron Rodgers, I was about to say this, Aaron Rodgers came out and said that he might play for this year and try to see what happens next year. And so it's basically a year-to-year thing. So everything has to go right this year. If everything doesn't go right this year, then he might be gone. And then who are we going to go to? Jordan Travis? Jordan Travis, he's not proven yet. He's still developing, so he's a red shirt this year. So it's just like we don't really have a future, like Joe said, so we will have to go to free agency. And our free agency when it comes to quarterback is not so good. It's not so good. But we do have promising, young talent.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody's listen, when people tell me that AVT is going to take a deal because he's been hurt, I remember Quentin Williams dealing with a foot injury, and he was injured quite a bit for a season, coming back from that foot injury, missed some time. That man signed a 4-year, $96 million deal, like in 2023. No, I cannot. I wanted to go back to that just really quickly. I can't even remember the last Jet that gave us a discount. There's never been one.
TJ Mosley.
There's never been a discount. No, well, he gave a little bit of money back, but he also got that 2-year deal because of all the stuff that was going on with McCagnon, right? But a discount, like a major discount for the level of his, no.
Oh, no.
They adjusted that contract, turned it into a 2-year, ripped it up, and gave Mosley that 2-year deal. But his contract was massive at one point too, massive at one point for us. But AVT,
you could kind of say
basically in his
Aaron
prime,
Rodgers,
there's never been a player in his prime that's given us a discount at all.
Oh, not in the prime. Not in the prime.
No, not in the prime.
I was going to say Aaron Rodgers, he gave us a little discount, but he's not in his prime, though. So, yeah, he's doing that because he wants to get to the Super Bowl. But, no.
Let me tell you.
I don't see that
not
happening.
in their prime.
And not in New York taxes as well,
too. Thank goodness we got that from Aaron Rodgers. Thank goodness.
Oh, yeah, thank God.
He allowed that to help us continue to build around him. That's what I love. But discounts, they don't come easy. Listen, Val, I got to slide off. I got other callers. It was great to speak to you. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right?
Yes, sir, Joe. Everybody salute to Joe. Everybody hit that like, subscribe button to Joe, man. And like I said, as always, whatever he says at the end is all allegations.
Oh, my
I'm out of here.
Hey, listen, everything I say about Val is true, okay? No matter what he tells you, it's all true, all right? I tell you what, y'all keep talking about discounts. AVT ain't going to give y'all no discount. Quentin Williams didn't give you a discount. Hell, Jamal Adams got out of here. He was tired. He wanted to get up out of here. He damn sure wasn't trying to give nobody no discount. That man was a box safety and wanted $20 million per season. Are you insane? Man, oh, man. We're going to keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. We are taking all callers. Okay? Salutes to all the savages in the chat. Going back and forth. All right? Bree says, salute savages. Listening to y'all while watching the Subway Series on mute. Salutes. I know y'all getting it in. All right? That Subway Series is flowing and going. Edward Stewart, salutes to him, also says Gibson should be much improved. He showed lots of flashes last season. Yeah, he did. All right? Yeah, he did. And he absolutely gave us a lot on special teams as well. Big-time kick return stuff. If he can just continue to grow as a wide receiver, boy, oh boy, it could get nasty. All right? Edward Stewart also says, I just don't see that happening with Adams. Yeah, we'll see, man. A lot of people talking about Devontae Adams. I'll continue to hear from y'all, but I don't know, man. I don't think that happens. We'll keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. Next, we're going to Mike from Tom's River. Max, hold on a second. We'll get to you in a second. But we got to go to Mike. For those of you that do not know Mike, he's a savage. Mike salutes. We're sitting down. We're talking about Haason Reddick and him not showing up to camp. What are your thoughts? Because I felt like this was going to happen, and here we are, right? He's not there. He's holding out. He's looking for the contract. How are you feeling about it?
I knew he wasn't going to report on day one. I think it'll get done. I say like a week. You know, I think they'll do like a 2-year deal, load up the guaranteed money, probably like 18, 19 million. He's never getting 25, 28 million a year. He's crazy.
Okay. Well, let me do this then. Okay. I hear you saying that you don't think that he'll get that, right? I hear you say that, and I get it. He's had 4 double-digit sack seasons. Okay. Mm-hmm. What if Hasson comes to you and says, "Hey, give me $21 million. That's not 25. Give me $21 million per season." Are you doing that?
You
don't have to pay him.
If it was a 2-year deal, yeah.
So you're giving that to him, $21 million per season.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about how that would impact you getting AVT, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and Jermaine Johnson signed? Because those guys are coming up.
With Breece Hall, AVT, DJ Reed, and Carter were up next year because Breece was the second round pick, so he has the 4-year option. With Sauce and them, they get the 5-year option, so that goes to 26. And then we can also use the fantasy tag,
But hold on. But those are guys. Mm-hmm. Those are guys that you definitely want to get deals done next year. You don't want to wait until. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You do not want to wait. So they're up for. You can get them deals next season, like right at the start of next season, and you want to get that done. You don't want to end up like you did with Bryce Huff, right? Look at the situation with Bryce Huff. Bryce Huff, everybody's screaming that deal should have got done before the season started or during the season. That should have happened. Didn't happen. And now we're sitting here, right? He's going to get I believe he's going to get quite a bit of money. Now, I just said $21 million just to, but he's looking for 25 to 28. And he knows his number and he knows his value, all right? And I understand you're saying it's crazy, but that leads me to my next question for you. When you look at this situation, do you think it was a mistake for Joe Douglas to trade for a guy that already had contract issues coming up to date without making sure that something was in place already before they made the trade?
Well, I'm sure they had discussions before the trade, talking and like that's how contracts go. You throw out a number, you throw out a number, and then we adjust to that.
But there was,
he'll work
and I hear that, Mike. Sorry. And I hear that, but there was nothing concrete. They offered him something, according to Connor Hughes. Again, this is according to Connor Hughes. They offered him something that would give him more than what he's making this season. He declined it. That should have already raised their eyebrows like, oh, this guy's not playing. He's not joking around. He wants big money, right? He wants that 25 to 28 million. He wants that because whatever it is that they offered him, he would have definitely have made more money than what he's making this year, and he still declined it. So why would you still make that trade to walk into a situation like this with nothing concrete, with this man having so much leverage? Why would you do that if you're Joe Douglas, Mike? Go ahead.
I trust Joe. I could see it where if they can't come to an agreement, all right, let him play out his 1-year deal. I know it's not guaranteed. I would guarantee that contract for this year, and then see how McDonald plays this year. And then if we got to go sign somebody else, we'll sign somebody else. But our main concern should be AVT, locking up Breece Hall and Michael Carter.
But doesn't that affect your defense in a great way, though, Mike? Because he was the guy that's supposed to replace. Yeah, he's the guy that's supposed to replace Bryce Huff, right? So I understand what you're saying. Hey, let's let him. We'll just play out your year. He doesn't have to show up. I mean, he doesn't have to show up. He can hold out. all the way throughout the season. He can absolutely hold out. Yeah. It's already costing him a lot. I think he's missed out on a $250 workout. Excuse me, a $250,000 workout bonus. He got fined for mandatory
and $50,000 a day.
Yeah, $50K a day. He doesn't care about that. You can clearly see. Like listen, Hasson Reddick has already made money, but he understands, and this is what I was talking about with a lot of Jets fans. He's 30. That window is starting to close to stay in the league. Yep. He knows that this may be one of his last paydays ever, and he's at he's a great pass rusher. I think he was ranked like 87 or something in the league, the top 100 players this recent list that they put out. He's one of the really good guys in this league. So if this is the last time he's going to cash in, he's going to make it well worth it. He's going to make it well worth it, and he has a lot of leverage. No proven pass rusher outside of Jermaine Johnson. If he sits down, there's nobody. Will McDonald, everybody talk about Will McDonald. He was the guy that was supposed to come in to help Will McDonald. You got
he came in his rookie year. He came in with 235. He's up to 255 now. He's at 255 right now. I think he's going to have a good year this year.
Yeah, but Hasson Reddick was supposed to be the guy that was supposed to help him really hone in on his skill.
Yes.
We talked about that. Yep. That he was going to be the guy to really mold Will McDonald. But not only that, right? That was supposed to be his responsibility. He's looking at a general manager and a coach that if y'all don't get it together this season, y'all going to get fired. If you don't have somebody produce this season, y'all all going to get fired. And I'm the guy that's supposed to come in and really get things rolling for this defense. And when y'all don't get pass rush, this is a different style defense. That's a lot of leverage, Mike.
Oh, yeah. I think they'll get something done, though. I think they'll get something done. I think they'll get it done pretty quick.
Okay. I hear you, Mike. Listen, I'm just listening. I'm asking questions, and I'm just listening, okay? Because if this was easy peasy and everything was smooth and gravy, right? Why hasn't already gotten it? Why hasn't already gotten done?
I have no idea.
Why go into
I also wanted to correct you. Mike Williams is coming off the ACL, not Achilles. He did it last year,
coming off
week
the ACL,
5. Yeah. You said Achilles before. You said Achilles before, and he heard it week 5, so he should be ready. He should be ready by week 1, I think.
Okay, but let's go there then. Let's talk about Mike Williams. I understand. All right, I get it, but I'm looking at the situation with the ACL. You look at the situation, and there's a lot of talk that he's not. He could be ready week 1, but if he isn't, right, ready week 1, you're going to have to lean on somebody else at that number 2 spot. You're going to have to, and even if he does come back, right? Even if he does come back and he can get on the field, how close? Like he's still going to be working himself back in the football shape.
Yes, but he's more of a possession receiver. He's not take the top off. He's more box the guy out. And let Garrett take the top off.
Yeah, but even that though, Mike, that's athleticism. How you going to take the top off and box a guy out? You can't really get up because you're coming off that ACL injury. You can't jump like that.
No, I hear.
You ain't the Mike Williams from 3 years ago. That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to work yourself back. We've seen this where guys come off an ACL injury, and it takes them a bit to get back flowing. So if he's not ready, you're going to probably have to lean on Alan Lazard. Give me your thoughts on that, Mike.
He's in the doghouse. I think that, if he has a bad training camp, like he'll be like number 5, and I think they'll roll with Brownlee or give Charles a shot. Like they won't, because Sal does not like Lazard, and I could see that something like that happen. Or they could even go with Corley, try him at number 2 too, because he could play outside too,
I mean Corley, we'll see. Corley, there's a lot. He's got to work on some things on his game. Corley's a smaller guy though. You look at this offense,
I'm just saying,
bigger wide receivers. Guys that are pretty long.
I'm just saying,
and that's why Mike Williams. Yeah, that's why Mike Williams fits what we do here, and I like Mike Williams a lot. But you start to look at the situation, and if he's not fully ready to really get back out there after that ACL injury, you gotta wonder: are you going to be leaning on Alan Lazard again? And the answer is, yeah. Unless you want to put Brownlee out there, or Taylor.
Mm.
If he's
it
that
depends how they
in the
do
doghouse.
preseason.
Yeah.
Depends on the preseason, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He'll give
now,
Lazard a chance, but you know he's going to blow it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Now, as we finish up here, you were just talking about, that battle wide receiver. Thoughts about the battle at running back, man? A lot of people saying Braylon Allen, he's the number 2. Mm-hmm. That's it. There's no chance for Izzy or anybody else. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about that battle? How do you think it pans out? Give me your prediction.
I've been doing a lot of reading about that, and they've been saying don't overlook Davis. You know, they're saying Davis might have a chance at hitting the number 2 spot. You know, so that's going to be a battle. It's going to be Izzy and Cohen battling out for the kick return, punt return. You know. And then I think you might even cut the fullback and keep 4 running backs. I can see that happening too. And keep maybe Allen or somebody as the fullback. And boom, just plow ahead. Okay, you ready to get rid of Baldwin? There's a lot of people saying Isaiah Davis could end up taking Baldwin's spot. That Baldwin isn't safe, but we'll see what happens going forward. Okay, we'll see what happens. Listen, Mike, this was a phenomenal call from you. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you. All right. Yeah, definitely, Joe.
Absolutely. You have yourself a good one, man. What a call. What a call from Mike. He brought us some takes, man. I'm not going to lie to you. He got us some takes. Listen, people keep running from this Hasson Reddick situation. I want to address it. I want to know, okay? What are you going to do? If you're the Jets general manager, how are you handling this Hasson Reddick situation? This man wants to get paid, y'all. He's not playing around. And if it was so easy to get done, why hasn't it gotten done already? This should have been done before camp. The Malachi Corley situation, everybody was, there were some Jets fans going, he ain't signed, Joe. He ain't signed. I was like, okay, hey. We know Joe Douglas sometimes get things done a little bit later. Malachi was done before camp started. He was signed before camp started for those rookies. Hasson Reddick, still holding out. No new deal. Even though we knew that the Eagles wanted nothing to do with any kind of contract disputes with him. Oh, you want him? Here you go. Give us a conditional 3rd-round pick. That could be a 2nd. Okay, that works. Hey, Hasson, I need you to pack your stuff. You're about to be a New York Jet. They even offered him a deal, according to Connor Hughes. He declined it. That should have let you know this man's not a game. They still made the trade. We're going to keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I am taking all callers. Okay? Next, we're going to Max. We're coming to Mad Max. We already know he's got some takes. For those of you that do not know, Max, man's a savage. Max, salute and respect to you, Max. Listen, I'm sitting here talking about this Hasson Reddick thing, and there's a lot of people that seem to just believe, hey, everything's going to work out. It's going to be okay. Do you feel the same way? Because I'm concerned. I was telling people I thought he was going to hold out, and here we are, and he's holding out, and things could continue to turn left very fast. What are your thoughts and feelings on it?
I'm totally concerned right now. I mean, yes, it's day 1 of training camp, but Hasson Reddick is not there, and I think it's a big concern. I mean, training camp is when teams start doing schemes, and especially this season, because Robert Saleh, hot seat. Joe Douglas, hot seat. If they don't make the playoffs, it's definitely going to be a hot seat. So I'm totally concerned. We had OTAs. I was talking on Matt O'Leary's podcast show, and all the Jets fans are overreacting. Okay, OTAs were optional. Training camp is mandatory. If you miss training camp, you got $50,000 fines. So I'm totally concerned about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's getting fined $50K a day. He don't care. And I keep telling people, listen, man, this man's looking for a payday. Rightfully so. He's a guy. But what really blows my mind, Max, and I want to get your thoughts on this. The Jets offered him, according to Connor Hughes, they offered him a contract during the negotiation before the trade was official with the Philadelphia Eagles. He looked them right in their face, and he declined that contract. Even though it was going to pay him more than what he's getting paid right now, he declined it. Why do you think that Joe Douglas would still make the trade and potentially open himself up to a situation like what we're going through right now? Do you think that was a major misstep?
I think it was a total mistake to try Hasson Reddick because we had Bryce Huff. He was a good edge rusher last year. He had 10 sacks. He was probably the best edge rusher since John Abraham. He was homegrown talent, and instead, let me just say bye-bye because we didn't want to pay Bryce Huff like $18 million a year. Now we got Hasson Reddick. He wants like $28 million. Like, I'm sorry, you do not pay an edge rusher. I mean, yes, Hasson Reddick is a great player. He's a great player, multi-digit sacks, but we're not going to pay someone $28 million a year. I mean, if you want to pay someone $28 million a year, I would say it was Brandon Ayuk, and he's still on the market, and we could have traded for Brandon Ayuk instead of Mike Williams. And I'm not saying Mike Williams is – and, you know, a lot of Jets fans can disagree with me. I'm not saying it's a bad trade. It's just Mike Williams is one of the most often injured wide receivers in the NFL, and we could have spent $28 million on Brandon Ayuk, who's in his prime. And a lot of people could disagree with me because Devontae Adams is still in the trade market, but he's never going to get traded to the Raiders. And a lot of people think, oh, if the Raiders start badly, like, if the Raiders start bad, then of course they're going to trade Devontae Adams, like, and I would think Devontae Adams would be a good fit, but I feel like Brandon Ayuk's only 26 years old. He's still in his prime, and I feel like we should have spent the $28 million on Ayuk because, look, he's a good wide receiver. We do not need to spend $25 million on an edge rusher when you can pay Bryce Huff $18 million. It's just, I don't really get it, man.
Yeah, listen, I'll tell you what, even Ayuk, right, the contract, and we all know he's publicly come out, him and his agent, his representation has come out publicly and asked the Niners for a trade. They've made it very clear that, listen, this negotiations are not going the way we like it to go. Let us up out of here. And he's, according to reports, Brandon Ayuk is still reporting the training camp. He's still reporting the Niners training camp. He's going to be there. And we're going through this contract situation here to Hasson Reddick, and he ain't going to be here. Now, we'll see how it continues to play out. I'm hoping that something gets figured out, and that's going to lead me to my next question with you. Max, you're looking – I'm going to make you Joe Douglas. You're the Jets general manager, Joe Douglas. Is the most that you're willing to give Hasson Reddick? What is the most that you're willing to give him per year?
I'm saying maybe like 2 years, like $22 million, like maybe $22 million per year. Because I'm like, an elite edge rusher should be paid maybe like $22 million a year. I think $25 to $20 million is just too much for an edge rusher. I'm sorry. I mean, okay, if Hasson Reddick was, say, a wide receiver, I mean, I would not mind if he was like, okay, top wide receiver in the league. I wouldn't mind paying him $25, $28 million, but he's an edge rusher. We could have paid Bryce Huff $18 million. Homegrown
easily,
talent.
Yep.
Yeah, but Joe Douglas, I don't know, for whatever reason, they want to pay our homegrown talent who's, I don't know, Bryce Huff, undrafted free agent. Best edge rusher since Sean Abraham, $18 million. It's just, like, crazy to me. I just don't get it.
Yeah, listen. Before I let you go, Max, because you've been bringing us some takes right here, when you look at the situation that's going on with Hasson Reddick, how much pressure do you think starts to drive up on Will McDonald at this point? Because if he does sit, if Hasson don't show up, and we go into the season with Jermaine Johnson and Will McDonald being our guys, do you think Will McDonald will be able to deliver under that pressure?
Hopefully you deliver under the pressure, because I was at the draft party last year. When we drafted Will McDonald, I wasn't a big fan. I wanted the Jets to get Jackson Smith-Njigba, and I thought because we last year espoused slot receiver. I mean, yes, we had everyone was saying we had an extra receiver core, but I'm like, Alan Lazar wasn't that great, and I think the pressure, because pressure's going to go up because he was a first-round pick, and I didn't like Will McDonald's pick, and I hope he proves me wrong, but he needs to be really good in order to justify the Jets drafting him. Because if he's not good, Will McDonald, then I think the Jets made a mistake drafting him instead of drafting Jackson, in my opinion.
Yeah, Listen, Max, this was a phenomenal call from you. Next time I'm on the show, I want to hear from you, all right?
Okay.
All right, you have yourself a good one. Listen, Max came in with some takes, man. He came in with some takes. Let's go ahead and give him a Jets chant, man, because this man absolutely deserves what he brought to the table. I respect it. Listen, we're going to be talking, baby. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. I'm taking all calls. All right. Salutes to all the savages in the chat. They're going back and forth. Edward Stewart says, exactly, Joe. This should have already been taken care of. Edward continues to go on and say, I'm thinking like $21 million. That's where they were looking for John Abraham presence. Yeah, listen, you're going to pay Hasson Reddick, according to reports, $25 to $28 million per season. He want to get to the bag. He's an edge rusher. I know everybody's looking around like, man, well, that's a lot for an edge rusher. This is literally a passing league, y'all. This is literally a passing league, y'all. Like, you pay the guy that throws the ball, and you pay the guy that chases the guy around that's throwing the ball. That's literally what this league is about, right? That's why corners are so important, edge rush is so important. Look what edge rush did to Patrick Mahomes. They played the Bucs. It made him look very normal. He didn't look like the guy from outer space, okay? And I've always said I don't think that Patrick Mahomes is human. I don't. All right, he's got everybody else fooled, but not me, not your boy Joe. But when he played Shaq Barrett and JPP, looked very Sam Darnold-ish, okay? Looked very Zach Wilson-ish, okay? Looked very Geno Smith-ish, okay there, Patrick? You didn't look the same. It's because those guys were mauling him, and he had very little chance. Pass rush is important. Important, especially when you're talking about winning a Super Bowl, because Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, the list goes on and on of quarterbacks. There's a guy out there with the Chargers that's unbelievable. There's also a guy out there with the Texans that's unbelievable, okay? And he's only going to get better, all right? I can keep going. I'm just saying. Okay? We'll keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. Next! We're going to Phenom. We're coming to Phenom, and I want to hear what he has to say. Because Phenom always calls in with, some good takes, man, and a different way of looking at things. So, for those of you that do not know Phenom, he's a savage. Phenom salutes. Listen, we're sitting here, right? We're chopping it up, and we're talking about Hasson Reddick. And this situation is mind-boggling to me, Phenom, because I'm looking at it, and I'm saying, hey, according to reports, they offered him a contract while they were trying to figure out the trade between the Eagles, and he declined that contract. It was also known that he wants between $25 and $28 million per season. And the Jets still made the trade. Phenom, can you please tell me why you think Joe Douglas would make this move?
Look, Woody's got plenty of money, Joe. He can make this deal happen whenever he wants to, man. So the money is not the issue. Well, the money ain't coming out of none of our pockets. So, but this is the business of football that, makes it really difficult for fans because, we seen this coming. We had Bryce Huff. We could have signed him. They didn't want to pay our guy that we developed. And then you go out and you make the big swing and you get this big name. But now the rubber has to meet the road and you don't want to sign this guy. It's frustrating, man, but at the same time, we know that this is somebody's opportunity. This is somebody's opportunity to make an impression on this football team. Now, you guys have been talking about Will McDonald. Can this guy play? Yes, he can play. Well, did he play out of position in college? Yeah, he did. Did he get much playing time last year? No. But, again, this is his opportunity. So, we'll see.
Listen, and I get that, Phenom. I hear you. But here's the deal: bringing it back to Hasson, there's a reason why they traded for him. There's a reason why we were all so excited because I streamed about Bryce Huff being re-signed. Some people shouted me down. Okay, cool. He's a Philadelphia Eagle. Everybody was okay with that. Well, then when they went and got Haason Reddick and brought him into the building, there's a reason why everybody was excited. It's because, right, outside of Jermaine Johnson, there's no proven pass rusher. And even Jermaine Johnson has never had double-digit sacks here, even though we love him and he's phenomenal. Right?
Agreed.
So guess what? In this league, if you can't get after the passer, I don't give a damn how great you think your defense is. You're going to get cooked, dog.
You're absolutely right, Joe. You're absolutely right.
And we've seen it. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. So my question for you is, you said earlier, look, it'll get done. Woody Johnson's got a lot of money. Well, if it is going to get done, first off, why wasn't it done before training camp? You got Malachi Corley done before training camp, right? He was signed and finished. Okay, report to camp. Rookies. All right? That was done. You got all that stuff done. Why would you not get one of the most important pieces of your defense, get that situation figured out before camp starts? Because this is a Super Bowl or bust year, and the expectations are high. And if you falter and this situation doesn't go the way that it should here, you won't have to worry about signing anyone with the Jets ever again, Joe Douglas, because you'll be looking for a job, okay? You'll be looking for a job elsewhere because you'll get fired. And we all know that that's what's coming. So what I'm wondering is, Phenom, why would you walk into this situation? If it was going to get done, why isn't it already done?
That's the $1 million question. And I wish I had the multi-million dollar question. That's the multi-million dollar question. And I wish I could give you a real answer. But sometimes my father wasn't a Jet fan, and he used to say to me years ago, the Jets are cheap. Now, but again, you know, like. Again, the money itself is not the issue. They're trying to get it for the cheap. They're trying to get over on the cheap. That's what it is. And
but we've
seen this situation. We've seen this situation happen before. We've seen these NFL teams. I can remember the Dallas Cowboys. They started the season without Emmitt Smith one year, and they faltered. And then Jerry Jones, you know, gave him his bag like he was supposed to. It shouldn't have to come down to this, but sometimes these guys are hard-headed, and sometimes these GMs are hard-headed. But most of the time, it's the owner, because the owner has the final say-so. He's the one that has to sign off on this. So, like, we don't really know what the narrative is. Is it the general manager or the owner? But somewhere in this organization, go ahead, Joe.
From what we know, from everything that's been said, right, Woody Johnson and all those guys have given the power over to Joe Douglas. We've known that. Joe Douglas is the guy making all the decisions. Even the reporting structure has changed because of Joe Douglas. Here's the deal. If they're trying to get something on the cheap, this was the wrong tree to bark up. This was the wrong tree to bark up here because we knew. Listen, the Eagles, the only reason he was even on the market, Phenom, is because the Eagles did not want to deal with his contract situation. That's the only reason why he's even on the market. 4 years, double-digit sacks, has done a lot of work there. If you wanted to get something on the cheap, this was the last guy that you should have made a move for because he's not coming cheap. He made it clear to the Eagles. That's why they ran, and there's been talks about illegal tampering with Bryce Huff. I don't know how that situation panned out. But Bryce Huff is the Eagle, and he was an Eagle very fast, right? They made sure of that, and they made sure, hey, look, we'll move on from you as well, and got him out there as quick as possible. Nothing's coming cheap. My whole deal is this. You knew that this guy had contract situations there, and you didn't make sure that something was concrete before that trade was done, and then you continued on and didn't make sure that something was concrete and finished before training camp starts. We all know this is big expectations on the year. The last thing you want to do is go into the year with distractions. That's the last thing you want. This is going to be a big distraction. It's already a big distraction.
Oh, it's already a big distraction.
And last year we were marred with distractions.
Absolutely.
I'll give you the final word. Go ahead.
I'm going to camp on Thursday to see them live and see what I see, and hopefully we'll. I want to see for myself what's going on out there. But I'm stumped just like you are, Joe. This is mind-boggling, and hopefully he doesn't wait till the last week of the preseason to get resolved. That's the only thing as fans we can hope for, because we put our money in the middle of the table, and we're all in. All of us are all in. Are they really? No, if they're really all in, you make this deal happen right now and just go into this season clean, and then can play clean and have no doubts in your mind. We'll see.
No, you're talking facts. Before I let you go, Phenom, Aaron Rodgers, like you said, you're going to be there for camp. Call in because we have a show, because I want to hear about your experience there and what you saw.
Sure.
Aaron Rodgers, man. Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be out there. We saw him report. How concerned are you about that Achilles going into them being on the field and being in camp, man? And also, what are your expectations for him in camp as well?
Well, I think I'm hoping he's had plenty of long enough time to rehabilitate this Achilles. Just like I heard the foreign general manager Tenenbaum on ESPN or whatever, and he's saying that he needs to get hit before, he needs to play in preseason games. I think there's plenty of practices where they're doing, practices with other teams, so he doesn't have to be out there. But, so it could be more of a controlled environment, like that. Mm-hmm. So do we need to take that risk? I don't know about him playing in a preseason game like that, but he can get into an inter-squad scrimmage and get some work and maybe get touched a little bit. But you can't imagine that. Imagine how we would feel if he's in a preseason game and he goes down, man. That would be really crazy. So I'm not swimming on that one, but my expectations are he'll be fine. You still got to protect this guy. You don't want to take any unnecessary risk if you can, and we want to see him, healthy for the opener and moving forward. And this guy's a seasoned pro, so he knows how to get his body into shape and all that. So that's what that looks like. That's what that looks like.
I tell you what. I'm. Everyone knows I love Aaron Rodgers. I want to see him go out there. I want to see how that Achilles looks. I want to see, because, again, we all know sometimes those things flare up. Is that going to happen in camp? That's going to be a question, too. But, again, everyone knows he's rehabilitated crazy. The work he did last season, talks of him possibly coming back in itself is amazing. But I'm excited, really excited to see what he's going to be able to do out there. Listen, Phenom. This was a phenomenal call from you, man. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you, all right?
It's always my pleasure, Joe.
Absolutely. You have yourself a good one, man. Listen, Phenom coming in with some takes, man. I respect it. We're going to keep getting to these lines. Again, 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. Next! We're going to Rusty. Rusty's got some takes. I know he's got some things to say, okay? For those of you that do not know Rusty, he's a savage. Rusty salutes, man. We're sitting here talking about Hasson Reddick. We're talking about training camp. Listen, man, Hasson Reddick didn't report. I had a feeling it was going to happen, and it did. What are your thoughts on it, man?
Oh, I'm with you. I was with you from the get-go. It's ridiculous, actually. So when Joe did that, I was like, why? What? Me both, you and I and a couple other fellow guys, we were like, why isn't he not pulling the trigger on Huff? Like that.
Yep.
That $19 million is looking mighty cheap right around now. And then we could have got him for even cheaper if we did it last year. So, the season before or whatever. And now he's the last Ronin running around Japan and stuff like that. So, I mean, and it kills us too because we don't have him. Our defense isn't easy to learn, and McDonald's going to have quite a snack on him, man. It's a lot to take in. Everyone's going to be gunning for him. And, us Jets fans are going to be putting unneeded pressure on him because we're like, oh, yeah, you're in year two. It's like, pump your hate brakes, bro. Like, Jermaine got good because he had Huff, and
Yep.
you know, he had other guys to lean on. To where this is a big deal. You know, he has to come in, learn the system, of course, be around the guys, have the guys have
Mm-hmm.
you know, a bond of trust, and know how the other guy next to him is going to be playing. So, yeah, you know, it's always something, man. You know, it's like really, and then he's going to have to knock that, you know, that rust off in a sense, to where,
Yep.
you know, it's a big deal. Excuse me, didn't mean to burp. Just ate down some Puff down some Dairy Queen. My bad. But like, yeah.
Here's the thing as well too. Something that you were talking about, and we'll get into the pressure that is really, you know, driving up on Will McDonald, especially as this situation continues to play on. But Rusty, what blew my mind, because when we talked about everybody, me, you, and there are a bunch of other people, like you said as well, wanted to see Bryce Huff brought back. But once Huff was gone, and to hear that the Jets were negotiating with the Eagles, they offered Hasson Reddick a contract that would have had him paid more money than he's making right now, and he declined it, and then they still made the trade even though it was declined. Isn't that a head scratcher to you? Because why would you knowingly trade for a guy that has already declined your offer, but also, you know, has had an issue with the Eagles and has been declining their offers to the point where they just said, look, we'll just make you available, dude. We're not going to play these games with you. Why would you still make the trade? That's my question for Joe Douglas. Are you confused with that as well?
Yeah, it's Joe bit off a little bit more than he could chew on this one, because he was probably looking like, oh, you know, we can do a make it or break it year, you know, a show me year, which is the wrong type of game to play with Hasson, because Hasson already has. He has a Super Bowl ring. He's been to the dance, and he's literally one of the top three defensive ends in the whole entire league. And
that's a fact. One of the top pass rushers in the whole league. You're speaking facts, Rusty. You're speaking facts, man.
Yeah,
like you speaking
for
facts,
real,
man. Like there's
like he saw a rattlesnake and was like, yeah, let me just, you know, grab it by its tail. It's not, you know, it's unbelievable to the thing. And then he's trying to rely on, like, okay, he'll play this season, and the worst that'll happen is, you know, then we can trade him and we can get something for him. But meanwhile, you know, Hasson's like, well, you know, I'll just stay in Japan. They have good food here. It's pretty sweet over here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a millionaire. I have this time. And guess what? When I come back, someone will give me a fat contract. And
facts.
He's literally playing with like lava or fire or something. Mm-hmm. You know, I love Joe Douglas, but I mean, shoot, man, this one's got some stuff on it. And for him not to pay attention and to just pounce, he should have. And then the whole thing is, too, you can't just give him, like, all this money and stuff. And it's not Woody. Woody wouldn't care. Woody would throw him all that COVID money. He don't care. He's got tons of it. Yeah. So, but there's a thing called the cap, you know? And then there's another then there's another thing that's rearing its ugly head around next year is you're going to have to pay Sauce. You're going to have to pay Garrett. You're going to have to pay Brees because he's going to be a man on a mission too. And those are just three dudes, you know. Meanwhile, we have a whole, and then you have Jermaine, who God knows what he's going to do this year. He could be the next Reddick, but then it's, oh my God, we have
never mind the
Jets
guys
just do. It's not easy being
never
green,
mind
man.
guys
Kermit
like
nailed
DJ
it.
Reed. Never mind the fact that guys like DJ Reed who need a new deal. Listen, we have the best.
Eccles.
Me personally, I personally believe we have the best starting cornerback tandem in the league. That's what I personally believe. Sauce is the best in the league, and DJ Reed is literally one of the best, and he gets no love. If you guys think that DJ Reed walking out the door will not affect this defense, oh brother,
huge.
You better wake up.
People want to compare him to Cromartie. He's 10 times better than Cromartie was, and I don't care what people have to. I remember watching Cromartie very, very well and just screaming at certain things like, what are you doing? You know, like, thank God we had Revis. But it's Yeah,
listen,
Reed is highly underrated. It's not even funny.
And then you also got Michael Carter as well, AVT. People like everybody just think that the salary cap just don't exist. It exists, and I don't understand why you would trade for a guy that's asking for as much money as they know that he's asking for, and have him decline and still make the deal. I looking on it right now, I don't get what Joe Douglas was thinking. And listen, I've talked to many Jets fans, and I got a question for you as well, Rusty. I talked to many Jets fans, and they're like, well, according to certain reports, he gave them his word. Listen, there was a Vikings linebacker at one point, Anthony Barr. I don't know if anybody remembers this. Anthony Barr
that headache.
Anthony Barr agreed that he was going to become a New York Jet, and literally at the time said he physically felt sick and ran back to Minnesota and re-signed with the Vikings. Listen, unless it's concrete, and we see this in free agency all the time, where guys will agree with one team and then they just say, look, I'm not doing it, and they go sign with some. We see that. There should have been something concrete, and because there was nothing concrete, here we are sitting in this situation. And he knows
it's not concrete, they will creep, and that's creep away. It's not,
Fact. And he knows he's got the leverage. He knows he's got a lot of leverage in this situation. So, listen, Rusty, as we continue on, man, my question for you is this. I'm going to make you Joe Douglas. 25 to 28 million is what he is reportedly what Hasson Reddick is looking for. What is the most that you're willing to give him per year to get him into camp and on that field?
We don't have it. I mean, if we did, if I was Joe, I would do a lot of things, starting with firing certain coaches. But that's not Saleh. that's hacks and other types of people. But that's another story. But as far as Reddick goes, I would do I would make major incentives for him. Major. Give him a guaranteed $19 million, and after he got past 12 sacks, I'd give him $1 million, $2 million per sack after that, and then playoff and Super Bowl bonuses. Yeah, that's how you have to reel that fish in. That's how you'd have to, and you'd have to do that for 1 year, because then 2025, then you're gonna have to pay you have to pay the piper with everybody else, and that's even if we could do something like that.
Yeah, I think he wants a lot of guaranteed money. He wants a lot.
That's the thing.
I'm telling you.
I don't blame him.
And again, this may be the last time he gets to cash in. He's not joking. He's not joking. I don't understand it, Rusty. Rusty, before I let
New
you
York
go
and
quickly,
Jersey have those brutal taxes too, man. So he's gonna want some serious cheddar.
Before I let you go quickly, Aaron Rodgers, the Achilles. Are you still concerned? What are your expectations for him in camp? Quickly, give me your thoughts. Justin, you're coming.
I'm not worried about that foot. If anything, it'd be the other. But I think he's good. He's pumped so many of those cells into him and everything like that with the different treatment centers. I've seen them. I was one to, that's what I would do if I was a gazillionaire like these guys, And when I saw him do that, I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, he's about that. I wouldn't do all the tripping out and stuff, and but probably dabble a little bit, but it wouldn't be to that extent. But God bless him, man. Get us some Super Bowls, and I'm cool with it. Because to me,
all right,
we need
listen,
a Super Bowl.
Rusty. Listen, I got to slide off. I got other callers. Next time I'm on the show, I want to hear from you, man.
Absolutely, Joe. Salute to you and salute to the fellow Savages. Let's go, Jets.
That's what I'm talking about. We're going to keep getting to these lines again. 515-602-9639. 515-602-9639 is the number. Call in. You know what I'm saying? We got a little bit of time left on the show. We're going to get to this next caller. It's Justin. Justin's coming on, and I cannot wait to hear what he has to say. For those of you that do not know Justin, he's a savage. Justin, salutes. We're sitting here talking about Hasson Reddick not showing up to training camp. What are your thoughts on this situation?
I just seen you were live. I just walked the dog. You know, I've been going at it with people all day. You know, Joe, just take a breath, breathe, my brother. I know your blood pressure is through the roof today. Everything is going to be okay. The guy hasn't missed a practice yet. The guy hasn't missed a practice yet, and this thing is going to be figured out. I seen the reports today that, you know, everyone's saying, oh, Joe Douglas doesn't know what he's doing, blah, blah, blah. The guy knows the guy wants a new contract. The guy offered him, and, you know, now we got to get the kinks figured out here. Yeah,
No, stop. He offered him that contract, and then he declined it, okay? He offered a contract, declined it. He already knew that Hasson Reddick was already having contract issues with the Eagles. They also knew that he also wanted $28 to $25 million per season and still made the trade.
So do we
Why
know
would you do that?
The reports? Do we know if the reports are accurate? We don't know what the Jets offered. That didn't come out yet. That didn't come out yet. What the Jets offered. The Jets offer did not come out yet. We don't know what it is. It was
let's say that the reports are ridiculous, right? Let's throw away the reports then, Justin. Let's say that Connor Hughes isn't accurate. Okay, let's say that, right?
No. I didn't say that. I said they offered a pay increase. That's all I said.
Okay, and he declined it. We know that.
Okay,
he declined
so what? I would decline it too.
So quick question, Justin. If everything is rosy and everything's going to be fine, let's say Connor Hughes, his reports are not true. Why isn't the deal done yet?
I didn't say they weren't true though. That's
you didn't say that. I'm saying let's just put them away. Let's put them out the way.
I just said he wanted a new deal, which that's not rocket science. Everyone knew the guy wanted a new deal, right?
Okay, so why didn't he get one before they traded for him? You just said yourself it's not rocket science.
It doesn't. That's not how it works in contract negotiations. Huh? One side wants something. I mean, just because the guy wants a new contract doesn't mean it's nilly dilly. I mean, that's not how it works. So why would you trade for him?
So why'd you trade for him then?
So Joe Douglas did. I mean, the guy. Joe Douglas knew the guy wanted a contract. Now it's just about getting the number figured out. I mean, I don't.
Why didn't you figure that out before you traded for him? Why would you wait until training camp starts to try to figure that out?
You got to ask Joe Douglas that question. You asked Joe Douglas. You got to ask Joe Douglas that question.
You're the one taking up for it, telling everybody to calm down.
I'm not taking up for it. No, because you're saying the guy wants a new deal. I mean, that's common sense. Everyone knows that. Now it's just about figuring out a number. I mean, that's how it works in negotiations. So I don't understand what the issue is here.
Justin, the issue is we all know he wants to. All the savages watching, everybody listening, all my overseas listeners, everybody knows, including the Eagles, knew that he wanted a new contract. Everybody in the league knew that Hasson Reddick wanted a new contract. Okay. So question is, Justin,
we don't know if
why
he has a problem
would you trade
with the contract
for Hasson Reddick if you didn't already have a new contract in place?
This is the problem I don't understand with Jets fans. They don't understand. It's not just about Hasson Reddick. That's what Jet fans are not understanding in this whole contract. It's about setting a precedent. And Joe Douglas said he wanted the guy to be in the building. I mean, it's not just about Reddick. It's about the.
Justin,
I don't understand. The guy wants the guy to be in the building. I don't understand what's so.
Why would you trade
now
for him?
Now the guy's a headache because he wants money. The guy's a headache because he wants money. I mean, come on. What are we talking
because
about?
he's not done. There's no contract. So if he's not playing, what exactly is he supposed to do with him then?
We're at day one of training camp tomorrow. I mean, can we? Yeah. I don't understand. Well, I mean,
it's very important that he's at camp, Justin. You do know this is a brand new year with him in this defense, right? You do know that, right? You know it takes a minute to learn this defense, right? It does. You also know
it takes a minute for a guy that.
It is very important that he shows up. It's very important he was at
Get after the quarterback.
Everybody does.
Get after the quarterback. This notion of him being in the new defense, blah blah blah, is just ridiculous.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, Justin. If he doesn't play, there won't be any getting after the quarterback.
So let me ask you.
He'll hold out.
So according to you, you'll give him whatever he wants. Whatever money he wants, you're right.
I never said that. I never said that. I never said that. You're making that up. I never said that.
So then
I never said
that, though, Justin. Why wasn't it agreed upon before the trade?
You're making things up.
So you said it should have been agreed. What if the number wasn't agreed to before the trade?
This is what I said, Justin. I said he should have gotten a contract done and in place before trading for him. And if he was not, because they offered him something, he declined it. That should have let you know off the bat, this guy's not playing. He's not joking around. He really wants to get paid that 20 to 28, 25 to 28.
He's not playing because he's not playing because he's not reporting the first day of training camp. That makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, the same way he didn't report the mandatory mini camps either.
The guy wants his
money. He's not joking around. And he's sitting out.
Yeah, but you keep missing the point where I keep telling you the plan was whatever went south. The plan was to have him at the mini camps. That's the part you keep missing. That was the plan.
No,
and
that's
then whatever.
Justin, it doesn't matter
it
doesn't matter what the plan is because he's not under contract.
What's the resolution?
He's declined the contract, Justin. We all know you trade for a guy, you want him into the building. He's not doing that. He didn't show up to the mandatory minicamp. He's not showing up to training camp.
Mandatory minicamps that weren't even mandatory minicamps. I mean, I think it's just a little bit immature to say to just. So you're saying you're not going to give the guy whatever he wants. So then the contract. So I don't understand.
Justin, I don't think. No, I don't think
they're not going to get this figured out.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Training camp has started. He ain't here. They better figure it out.
So you don't. So how do you figure? So you don't want to solve the solution by giving him everything he wants. So what if he's asking for $30 million? And now you're saying
I would not give him that. Here's the deal.
Okay.
If I was Joe Douglas, and I got to cut it short, Justin, because we're short on time. If I was Joe Douglas, I would have never made the deal if he didn't want to accept what I offered him.
Yeah, I forgot. I forgot. You want to try over Bryce. You don't want to trade for a top 5 position at his difference.
I don't want to trade for a guy that is not going to play. No, I don't. I don't want to trade for a guy that's not going to play.
Who said he wasn't going to play? Who says he's not going to play?
If you don't give him a deal, he's going to sit out, and he's not going to play, more than likely. That's what's going to happen. The same way that Chris Jones sat out and didn't play until the Kansas City Chiefs gave him that deal.
We're not at that point. We're not at that point yet. We're not.
I remember before this, we were at a point.
Yet.
I remember before this, we were at a point where people were saying, he'll show up to training camp. Still not here in his day one. Still not here. This matters. I know
the guy wants his money. I don't think it's so hard to understand. The guy wants money. This is his last good contract. I don't understand.
We know that, Justin. Listen, I got to slide off because we're short on time. Next time I'm on the show, we got to slide off. We're tight on time. 908, really quickly, give me your thoughts about Hasson Reddick and the situation really quickly. You got less than 90 seconds. Go ahead. 908? Yeah, really quickly, give me your thoughts on Hasson Reddick. You got a couple seconds. Mickey, salute. How's everything going? Really quickly, give me your thoughts so they cut me off.
Listen, Hasson Reddick, I don't know what's going on with him, but I'm ready to suit up. I did 12 push-ups the other day, 3 times. I'm ready to go. I got Joe on the phone. Listen, I'm ready to go. You just want to take $30 million a year, $10 million a year? I will take $25 a game right now.
Mickey, I got to slide off because they're going to cut me off in a second. Next time I have a show, I want to hear from you. I always like talking to you about this team. Listen. Really quickly, I'm the man of the people. I'm here for the people. Let me shamelessly promote my Facebook page. Everyone go on Facebook, search The Long Beach Show. Like that page. My content's up there. Go ahead and give it a listen. Message me. I'll message you right back. Love going back and forth with you folks about this football team. I'm also on Twitter as well, at The Long Beach Show, at The Long Beach Show on Twitter. Hey, follow me. I'll follow you right back. No, I am the Troy of the Bridge, and I have my Vera Tucker jersey on at all times. YouTube, Long Beach Joe Jets. Subscribe, hit that notification bell so when I post content, you'll be in the know. I want to thank you folks for listening. Free hugs to everyone. Until the next show, you folks have a good one. Peace. Woo!